You missed these hidden details about Shawshank Redemption. Plot summary. Andy, the young, successful vice president of a major bank, finds his life taking a serious detour after his wife and her lover are murdered and the crime gets pinned on him. Maybe because he was outside the lover's house with a loaded gun the night of the murder. Yeah, not looking good for him. Anyway, he's sent to Shawshank Prison, where he's befriended by some total sweethearts, including a convicted murderer named Red who eventually becomes his best bud. Red's a guy who knows how to get things, and Andy asks him to get him a rock hammer to collect rocks. He's always been an amateur geology fan. Red's glad to oblige. Andy's also befriended by some guys who are, well, let's just say they're not too keen on spending time with him. Nobody said prison was easy. Andy's accounting skills come in handy as he begins helping Warden Norton and the guards with their taxes and other financial issues. He quickly becomes the teacher's pet, receiving preferential treatment from the guards. They even go so far as to take care of another inmate who doesn't seem able to take no for an answer. Matters become complicated when Norton has Andy assist him with some shady dealings, involving Andy having to launder the warden's money. A financial wizard who knows all the loopholes, Andy launders everything through a Mr. Randall Stevens, a completely fictional human being who doesn't even exist. As Andy tells Red, he was clean as a whistle on the outside. It took being sent to prison to turn him into a crook. There's a glimmer of hope for Andy when Tommy, a new inmate, arrives at the prison, and it turns out he has information that could exonerate his new friend. The warden learns about it, and is none too keen to release into society someone with so much dirt on him. He has Tommy murdered, throws Andy into solitary for 2 months, and only releases him once he agrees to keep doing his dirty work. There's a time to shut up and a time to put up, and apparently, this was an awfully good time to shut up. After 20 years at Shawshank, Andy doesn't seem like himself. His buddies are worried, and he asks one of them for a length of rope. He seems to be telling Red goodbye. One morning, he doesn't make it out of his cell for roll call. Red fears the worst, but astonishingly, he isn't in there at all. We've got an escape on our hands. The warden learns the shocking truth. For almost 2 decades, Andy has been chiseling away at the wall with a rock hammer and hiding his handiwork behind a series of pin-up posters procured by Red, finally making his escape through the sewer pipes the night before. We will discuss the subtext in this movie. Great friendship. Andy and Red meet on an exotic beach at the end of the movie. The filmmakers were actually hinting that Red and Andy were more than just friends. Because this bond formed between prison inmates is even stronger than those formed between civilians on the outside, the reason is everything they're forced to go through together. Lies and deceit. Andy's ability to keep his escape plan secret was just an extension of his personality. He never expressed his inner feelings. The warden nearly looked inside Andy's Bible and would have discovered the rock hammer. Perseverance. Let's be honest. What are the chances that, in Andy's shoes, you would have had the patience and fortitude to do everything he was prepared to do in order to earn his freedom? You gave up on Candy Crush after only 3 levels. Perseverance is a huge theme through the film, and not just on Andy's part. Red undergoes his own struggle as he is rejected time and again from being labeled as rehabilitated, and it's only after decades of, let's call it, character building, that he finally strings together the right words and impresses the panel with his, let's call it, inner growth. Hope. For example, did you notice that the color red is used throughout the film to represent hope? This is most evident in the scene where Andy first arrives at Shawshank Prison, and he sees a red rose growing through a crack in the wall. The use of color is just one of the many ways that director Frank Darabont uses symbolism in the film. Another example is the use of birds, which represent freedom. We see this most clearly when Andy is released from prison and he sees a group of birds flying overhead. There are also many references to the Great Escape movie, another popular film about prisoners trying to escape from a maximum security prison. One example is the scene where Andy hides his rock hammer in the Bible, just like one of the prisoners does in The Great Escape. Brooks thought he would die in prison, but after his release from prison he could not survive and committed suicide. After Red was released from prison, he remained in the same place Brooks was, unable to survive in the real world. Andy was able to bring the positive change in Red life. The Shawshank Redemption is one of those rare movies that seems to get better with time. As you watch it again, or for the first time, pay attention to these hidden details you never noticed before. They add an extra layer of richness and depth to an already great film. So grab some popcorn, dim the lights, and enjoy one of the best movies ever made. And remember, no matter what life throws your way, keep your head up high and hope for the best.